Emily was left at a church gate the night she was born. She was wrapped in a thin cloth and placed inside a small basket. It was raining, cold, dark. The woman who left her was only 18, pregnant for a man who denied her. Her family was strict. If they found out, they would throw her out, maybe worse. So she ran away. She gave birth alone in a small room. When the baby came out, she didn't cry. She panicked. She shook the baby gently. Still no sound. She didn't know the child was deaf. She thought maybe something was wrong. Fear took over her completely. Before morning, she left the baby at a church gate and disappeared. The baby survived. The church took her to an orphanage. They named her Emily. As she grew, they noticed something different. She never turned when people called her. She never reacted to loud noise. Doctors confirmed it. She was deaf. Families came to adopt babies, but once they heard she cannot hear, they changed their minds. Years passed. Emily learned to read faces. She watched lips carefully. She understood feelings more than words. Across town, a married couple was breaking slowly, Sarah and Mark. They wanted a child so badly. Sarah got pregnant 5 times. 5 times she lost the baby. Hospital rooms became normal. Tears became normal. One day, after another loss, Sarah stopped hoping. I just want to adopt a child, she told Mark. They went to the orphanage. They saw many children. Then they saw Emily. She was sitting alone drawing on paper. She didn't notice them walking. Sarah knelt down in front of her. Emily looked up. Sarah smiled. Emily stared at her face, studying her mouth. Slowly, she touched Sarah's lips. Sarah felt something deep in her chest. I want her, Sarah said immediately. Mark was unsure when they explained Emily was deaf. It will be difficult, he said. Sarah didn't care. She had already lost too much. The adoption happened. Emily moved into their house. That first night, Sarah stood by Emily's bed and stared at her face. Something felt strange. Emily had a small birthmark on her left shoulder. Sarah's heart skipped. She had the exact same mark, same shape, same place. She tried to ignore it, but she couldn't sleep that night and she decided to secretly run a DNA test. Because years ago, before marriage, Sarah had been 18, pregnant. She had given birth in secret and she left the baby somewhere she hoped someone kind would find her. The next day, Emily walked into a small storage room in the house. She opened an old box. Inside was a hospital bracelet. It had a name written on it. Baby girl, Sarah L. She held the bracelet tightly because she had a similar one for years. Downstairs, Sarah's phone vibrated. A message appeared. The doctor confirmed her suspicions. Emily was her child. Sarah's hand started shaking because the child she abandoned years ago was now sleeping in her house. And this time, the truth was about to come out, and she didn't know how Mark would handle it. Emily was banging on the door. Rain poured heavily. Her clothes were soaked. She couldn't hear the thunder, but she could see the lightning flash across the sky. Inside the house, Mark stood near the door. He had locked it. While Sarah knelt down begging him to open the door, 2 weeks earlier, Mark had just found the truth about Emily. Before their marriage, Sarah had given birth to another man's child. That child was Emily. Mark felt betrayed. You made me raise someone else's daughter, he told Sarah. Mark refused to believe that adopting Emily was a coincidence. From that day, he changed. His voice became sharp. His eyes became hard. Little mistakes turned into punishment. Sarah tried to calm him, but she was afraid of losing her marriage, so she became quiet, and Emily suffered. Then Sarah got pregnant, and this time the baby survived. When Ethan was born, Mark carried him proudly. This is my son, he said. Emily was moved to the storage room. She was told not to touch the baby, not to go near the crib, not to even stand too close. One afternoon, Mark checked Emily's school bag and found a drawing. It was a picture of him and Sarah holding her hand. Mark tore it into pieces. We are not family, he said angrily. Emily stared at his lips. She understood every word. Weeks passed. One night, Ethan cried endlessly. Sarah was in deep sleep as she was exhausted from the day's activities. Mark had a stressful day, coupled with the anger of Emily living in his house. Mark went to the Ethan's room and picked the baby up roughly. "Stop crying," he shouted. Emily watched from the hallway. He dropped the baby back into the crib. 2 days later, Ethan stopped breathing. Everything moved quickly. Ambulance lights, hospital rush, police questions. Mark blamed Emily immediately. "She's jealous. She hates the baby." He even told police that Emily had been near the crib. But he forgot something: the house cameras. Footage showed Mark alone with Ethan the night of the shaking. Doctors confirmed the baby's injuries were older, not sudden. Mark was arrested for child abuse and false accusation. In investigation, police discovered something shocking. Mark had taken a secret DNA test weeks earlier. He wanted proof that Ethan was his. The results were in his drawer, unopened. Police opened it. Ethan was his son. Mark had destroyed his own child over anger that had nothing to do with the baby. And there was more. Police also found search history on Mark's laptop. How to cancel adoption legally. Can adopted child be returned? He had been planning to send Emily away after Ethan was born. Sarah's world collapsed completely. Her husband was in prison, her newborn son was gone, and the daughter she abandoned once had almost been pushed away again. Sarah cried uncontrollably. "I left you once," she said slowly so Emily could read her lips, "and I failed you again." Emily hugged her, not because everything was okay, but because she refused to carry hate. Months later, Sarah sold the house to forget the memories attached to the house. They moved to a smaller place. Sarah learned sign language properly. She attended therapy. She spoke openly about her past. The man Sarah got pregnant years ago, Emily's biological father, he saw the news. He came forward. He was so sorry for denying the pregnancy. He had been young, foolish, but not cruel. He wanted to meet his daughter. Sarah was afraid, but Emily agreed. When he stood in front of her for the first time, his hands trembled. He signed clumsily, "I am sorry." Emily studied his face. Her story had begun with abandonment, then rejection, then violence. And as she looked at both her parents sitting across from her, broken but honest, she realized something powerful. She had been unwanted once, blamed once, locked outside twice, but she survived all of it. And this time, no one was closing the door on her again.